Recently, Blade HQ came out with a brand new multi-tool on Amazon. This will look a little similar to some of the other ones we've seen, but it has some pretty important upgrades. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, on the outside, this looks very much like something you would see from Byberry or Felissa or some of the other brands, but this is Blade HQ's, and they call it the Lil Wrecker. Now, one of the things you do get with this is a pretty nice little pouch, which I actually like. Might be my favorite one. Has the Blade HQ logo, has the extra scalpel blades that stick here in the back. And then you can go ahead and store this tool in here like so if you don't want to use the pocket clip. Now, I would prefer always every day to use a pocket clip, but I have to say that this pouch, it's all right. It's not amazing, but it is better than some of the ultra cheap ones. And I do like that they spent the extra money and put the logo right there. And then it has that extra place for the extra scalpels. Now, this tool right here, one of the things I love about it is its price. This comes in at $25. $24.95, I think is what it is. So these have your spring-loaded pliers, wire cutters, the nice pliers that meet pretty well. Lately, I've been seeing some of these cheap pliers that do not meet very well at the tip, but this one actually does seem to. Now, in the past, I have noticed sometimes these springs end up catching a little bit, but overall, I do think they work okay. When we fold this up, everything else is on the outside besides the tweezers. Do get a set of tweezers on the end. Put these back in place. Nice pocket clip. Now, what I like about this is they have finally combined the tool set that to me makes the most sense. Screwdriver, bottle opener, makes sense. Replaceable scalpel, the knife blade. On this, the file, and then the flat screwdriver. Now, with this file, this is much more like a nail file. I don't think you would use it for too much else than that, but in a pinch, I guess you could file down a little bit of wood or plastic, but it's not very aggressive. And then the Phillips screwdriver, which is nice. And we've already talked about the flat screwdriver with the bottle opener. So the knife, 2 flat screwdrivers, file, and the Phillips screwdriver, then also the pliers. Now, I do want to show you some other tools and mention that I really do like this series from Byberry, Felissa. There was another name that actually started with scissors, but I have collected quite a few of these. I've modded several. All these are modded. I've added some textures on the outside of these 3. And to varying success, I'm not a huge fan of any of that. The one I carry most is actually this all black one. I've added the 4mm bit driver to. I've added the Roxxon scissors to it, kept the scalpel blade, kept the package opener and the file. And then of course there is the black spring-loaded pliers. So this is my favorite one of this version because I modded it. So the nicest looking one is this Blackhawk sold by Bear & Sons. This is really nice, but it comes in around $50, which is twice the price of this one right here. Now, if I remember right, this has the same or pretty much the same tool set. Let's get these out of the way. This has this blade. Yes, the screwdriver, the file, Phillips. So this actually has the rope cutter. Yeah, that's a little different. So this tool set is a bit different, but I do think this is the best tool set on any of these for just pretty much your average person. I do like that you can change out the scalpel blades. That's pretty nice. It gives you some replaceable options on there. And then the screwdrivers and the file, really, really nice. Well done, Blade HQ, for essentially dealing with probably the manufacturers overseas, saying, hey, of all the tools, this is what we want on it. And I think that's a good choice. Now, silver, I think, is the most popular choice for multi-tools. So a lot of people should be happy with this. Pretty cool. Now, in the past, I have been a little bit surprised at how heavy these are. That's one of the drawbacks. The price is a huge plus at only $25. Let's weigh this in grams, 154 grams. Change this over to ounces, 5.5 ounces. Now, keep that in mind that the Power Pint, I think, is around 4 ounces. The Skeletal from Leatherman is somewhere around 4 ounces, I believe. So I guess the Skeletal is somewhere closer to 5 ounces. On my scale, comes in at 5.2 ounces. This one comes in about 5.5. So very close on my particular scale. But these two tools are drastically different in price. This is $25, this is $100. So you can see there's a huge price difference, and the Byberry is pretty cool in that it is a little smaller. I have heard some negative things about the skeletal pliers, and I have had some issues with these springs binding up, but not so that you couldn't use them, just so that they weren't as usable. But all in all, I do think this is pretty outstanding value. I mean, look at that. You get a pretty nice set of pliers in a very small package. Well done. Well done to Blade HQ once again for picking out, I think, a winner at $25. Let me know what you guys think. I think this is a really good deal. I think this is probably the best out of all the tools that they have released in this bracket, in this frame size. The most well done, especially since you get this pouch, the extra blades, which I think most of them do give the extra blades. The SQT versions do get the extra pouch, but at $25, pretty good price.